Hello there and welcome to another review of The Shielded and Couch. So we have another collaboration album review and I'm joined by Senorita Sabrosura again. So Senorita, how are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So today we're going to talk about the band Interpol. And I see you have your albums there and I have this one on vinyl. The first one, Turn on the Bright Lights. But today we're here to discuss the band's new album that dropped last week.
Yeah.
And
The other side of make believe.
this is the album, The Other Side of Make Believe. I believe it's their eighth album. It's an album that's like 45 minutes.
The seven or the eight?
I think it's the eighth or I gotta check, but one of those, and it's like a 45 to 47 minutes album, and this album cover actually reminds me a little bit of their previous album cover, Marauder, like even in the look and feel of the album cover. I don't know if you remember that one. I think that one came out like a few years ago.
Yes.
So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go ahead and discuss the album. First, we're gonna talk about our first impressions listening to the album. Then we'll go into our favorite tracks, and then we'll go our last thoughts of the album, and we will each give our rating, our final rating, at the end of the video. So, Senorita Sabrosura, start off us with what you thought of this new Interpol album.
When I heard the album, I felt it was like cinematic, like very like a soundtrack. Um, like I was like waiting for the radio banger that they have in other albums,
Mhm.
but this album is like it has no bangers. It's just like very uh chill, mellow, and it feels like almost cinematic, like you're watching a movie but just listening to the movie.
Yeah, like a black and white movie, if you will.
If you watch the videos, it feels like that too. Like the first video they released and the first song of the album is Tony.
Tony.
It reminds me of the West Side Story.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's my first impressions of the album as well is that it's a more mellow album. Uh, I could tell that it was a grower. It wasn't an easy listen for me. Like the first time, I'm not gonna lie, the first time that I listened to it, I was a little bored at the beginning. I was like waiting for like that kick, that
Yeah.
that song that was gonna like wake me up, but it keeps like a same mellow rhythm of the music
The
all
whole
through its
album.
11 tracks. So I didn't think there was a whole lot of variation, and that's why you gotta like take your time with this album. It's
Yeah.
definitely a grower.
Yeah, you have to listen to it for more than once. Like, are you not gonna be impressed like with just the one listening, like other albums?
Like
Um,
other albums that grab your attention from the get-go. I remember,
yes,
I think we had a discussion a few months ago when the singles were dropping. We were like, oh, and I'm like, oh, what do you think of the singles? And you were telling me like, yeah, like so far the singles haven't grabbed me. Do you remember that we had like
yeah,
we talked like, hey, like it would be cool to.
yeah. I wonder if because the singer Paul Banks, he was doing a side project, Moss, and Moss is very chill, very stripped down. Like the voice is in the front, but at the same time, like very mellow. Like I wonder if that side project influenced this album. Like
Yeah,
it to, and then I wonder like being alone because I read the poll. He passed the pandemic alone in lockdown in Edinburgh, like far from his home and family, far away from his bandmates. Like I know one was in Spain in lockdown, the other was in Edinburgh, and the other one was in Greece. Like
yeah, I would pick Greece.
I
But
will
yeah,
pick
like
Spain. I will
you
pick
can
Spain. I
tell.
just came back from Spain and I want to go back.
Oh yeah, Spain is awesome. But yeah, you know what?
Like that
This
had to
album,
influence because you being in lockdown alone,
mhm.
like it got you thinking. And maybe he was like, what? I know he likes to watch movies, so maybe he spent a lot of time watching old movies.
Yeah, like I said, it sounds like a soundtrack to old black and white movies. Yes, that we have the cameo from the dog.
Yeah.
She wants to give her opinion on the album, but yeah. So yeah, the first impression, it's mellow, and it is it feels the sad. It's a sad record.
You know what? It feels like mellow, but I wouldn't say sad, like almost hopeful. And then I read that he said, Paul Banks said that he knows how fucked up is everything right now,
Mhm.
but it's necessary to have hope. So he wanted to be hopeful.
Yeah, no, it has its hopefulness. The singles were interesting. It had Tony, then it had Something Change, Fables, which is the second track on the album, and Grand Hotel, which is almost at the end of the album. So yeah, it's got interesting things about it. So what were your favorite tracks?
Well, I really like Tony. It feels like a California song, that melancholy. I don't know if like that California type of songs. So Tony, and it has like that hopefulness that I was talking about, and I really like Fables
Yeah, the
because
second one.
in other albums, like the voice, like Paul voice is in the background, like the music is up front and his voice is like almost like really quiet, ghostly. But in Fables, his voice is more up
Yeah,
front.
yeah, it's front and center in that song. You can really tell
And
the
then
voice. Yeah.
I really like Into the Night because it has like really strong guitar riffs, like the drum work, it sounds awesome. And one song that really surprised me was Mr. Credit.
Oh, I had that one on my
Yeah,
list. Yeah,
because
I want to talk about that one. Yeah.
it has a like very different tempo from the other songs.
Yeah, it's one of the more upbeat songs. Yeah, I have it here. I put in my notes. I like the guitar tone on that one, and it
Yes.
reminds me more of the band's first albums a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then, something changed. I like it has like a strong piano.
yeah.
Most of the songs that has piano, but this one has like a very strong piano with jazz elements. And then another song I like, it was like Renegade Hearts. I felt like they were channeling Beck. Like it
A
felt
little bit.
a Beck song.
Yeah. So yeah, those tracks are good. So my favorite ones too. I like Mr. Credit a lot. Like I said, I like the guitar tone on that one.
Yeah.
I think of the singles, my favorite, Something Changed. I liked it because I like the piano and I like the lyrics. Uh, it was and the chorus, but something about the lyrics. I was trying to read the lyrics. I don't know about you, but for me, the Interpol lyrics are kind of hard to decipher because they're like not so straightforward because there's things that make sense and there are other things that I don't know. Because on that one, I think he was talking about something changed. It could have been interpreted as a relationship or something had changed in the world. So it's kind of, I think there's lyrics with Interpol. Sometimes they can be more ambiguous, so it can mean something to different people.
He says that usually he's soundtracking the night, the city, New York. They're a band from New York, but
Mhm.
now they weren't in New York. So what are they soundtracking? The London fog, the gray skies of
Yeah.
Edinburgh. Like
Another song that I liked a lot that we haven't mentioned is Passenger. I thought that one was cool. It had like a mellow vibe, but it had some great, good, cool guitar on it, and I really think his voice was really good on that one. And I like the closing track of the album, "Go Easy Palermo." I found it to be kind of relaxing, and I liked also a little bit of the guitar on it. The tone also reminded me a little bit of "Turn the Bright Lights," a little bit.
Yeah.
So and Tony is a good single too. I think it makes sense as a single because I think it has a little bit of everything that they do in this
For
album.
me, it made more sense when I heard the whole album. Like
Mhm.
when I heard Tony by itself, it was like, what is this? And then
Yeah,
the video remind me of West Side Story.
yeah. When you say this, this is an album that it's not a singles album. This is an album to be enjoyed from front to back. You know, there's albums that
Yeah.
you can pick out singles and they stand out. But on this album, it's more of like the whole experience of listening to the whole album. Uh, and I like the title. Like, let's do something. Let's try to analyze what the title might be about. The other side of make believe. So you're saying that they did this album while they were on lockdown. So I wonder if it's like taking a look at themselves in the mirror, like, uh, and wondering what life can be in other places. Like it's interesting, the album title, and I wonder what does it mean.
Yeah. Um, and Pullman says that he wanted to talk about hopefulness,
Yeah.
about being hopeful that is necessary in these fucked up times. And another thing he said, the band said that they wanted to sound like Interpol. They don't want to sound like a new band. They don't want to sound like any other band. They want to sound Interpol. So I think they achieved that. Like
Yeah,
we're
and I
not
like the
reinventing
knife
them.
looking at the
We're not doing
glass.
something new. We're not reinventing the band.
Yeah, no, it's not like reinvention of the wheel or anything.
You know
It's
they had a guitarist that he left a few years ago, and then I think the last 2 3 albums are without him.
oh yeah, I didn't know that. So
No, it, I'm sorry, he was a guitarist, but he played bass.
oh okay,
So now Paul Banks, who's a guitarist, is playing the bass too.
okay, so he's on double duty. So
Mhm.
so we talk about our favorite tracks. So now we're gonna give our closing thoughts on the album and a score. So Senorita Sabrosura, what were your
Well, I
closing
think
thoughts on
he's
the
a
album?
grower, and you have to listen it more than once. Give it time. I would recommend for people who like more ambient music, more background. Like if you're doing something and you don't want to be disturbed, like
Put it on
uh,
the background.
yeah, put it in the background. I think I will give it an 8.
An 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a score. So I'm gonna give my final thoughts on the album. So the cons of the album for me is I thought there was not a whole lot of variation in music, which made some songs kind of like blend into each other. Sometimes I couldn't tell when a song ended
Yeah.
and another one began. So I'm like, am I listening to the same track? I don't know. And I too was listening to like, well, doing my actual work. I'm like, I put it in the background, try to see, and I try to get some notes on what I thought on different songs. But yeah, that's the thing for me that when they kind of blend together, I would have liked like a song that would have like stand out very differently. But I think at the end of the day, what the band didn't want to do that. I think they wanted to do an album that had that linear type of sound. Maybe because if you said they did it while the pandemic, maybe it's to capture like the essence of like isolation and
Yeah.
being alone. So if it would be interesting to know if that's why that type of album is that way. This is an album that,
See what are they're gonna do next.
yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do next. And this is an album that I would not recommend to you for driving. This is not a driving record, you know.
Maybe for cooking, cleaning,
Cooking,
working like you
cleaning,
do.
relaxing, but not a driving record because it is very mellow, very slow, uh, and it is a grower, like you said. You
It's
gotta
a
give it time. This is not an album that you're gonna put on the first time
in
and you're
love.
gonna be like, oh, this grabbed me. No, no, you gotta listen to it various times, and you'll catch some nuances and differences on the songs that maybe you won't catch on the first or second listen.
Yeah,
I
and
have
like
to,
I really love like Paul voice is more upfront, and you could see you can catch more of the drum work too. But you have to give it time.
you have to give it time. Yeah, I had to listen to the album like 5 or 6 times to get into it. The first time, actually, I like went away and went back to it. I couldn't finish it in one sitting. So my rating, I agree with you. After I thought at the beginning that I would give it like a 6 or a 7, but after repeated listens, I give it also an
Because it's
8.
not a bad album.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
not a bad album. Yeah,
it's
I
just
couldn't say.
classic
Yeah, I couldn't
Interpol.
say like there's a bad song on it because there's not a bad song on it. It's
Yeah.
just that it's very mellow. There is not a bad song on it, but there's also not a song that you say like, wow, that single blew my mind. But it is solid. And at the end of the day, I give it an 8 out of 10. If you like Interpol, I think you will dig this. Uh, and if you don't like Interpol, but you like music like to have on the background and chill, you can listen to this album. So uh, comment. Did you like this album? You didn't like it. What do you think about Interpol? Where would you rank this album on Interpol's discography? Comment. What were your favorite tracks? We would really want to know. And coming up next on the channels, like we have another video for Rock en Español, Volume 2, and that will be premiering Saturday morning. So go watch that. And I think we'll have some other collaboration reviews coming in the future. Maybe a video about newer bands that you need to listen to. So,
Yes.
yeah. So until next time, this is Hector, the Shield on the Couch,
Senorita Sabrosura.
and we'll see you on another album review. Thank you and good night.